All right, DCI Texas Tour, schedule released. Tickets are not on sale yet for any of those events, but if you look at the list, it's pretty different this year. Main focus, look at the DCI Tour through the state of Texas. Why is the contest not at the Alamodome? Why did it take so long to get a show in Austin? What the hell's going on? Let's make sense of it. I'll make this pretty brief, and then we can go back to eating Christmas tree cakes because I got 2 boxes I got to roll through. Good morning again, Daniel Valdez again. It is a pleasure and honor to talk to you, whether you're on the YouTube page, youtube.com/the Danpodcast, or you're on Apple Podcast. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe to all that fun internet hokey stuff. Appreciate it. Thank you all so much. I hope you all are doing well this off season. A lot of you aren't even in an off season if you want to think about it, because think about this. If you're a senior in high school, this is what you got to deal with. Marching season ends. Great. Immediately after that, region auditions, college auditions, which is something that gets overlooked a lot and doesn't get talked about enough. You got region auditions, you got college auditions, and then if you want to do drum corps this season, you've got camps and callbacks and all that fun stuff that you're dealing with all at the same time. It's a very, very busy time for a young musician who wants to continue their musical journey into music education and who wants to participate in drum corps as well. So anybody who's going through all that right now, let me know how it goes. I'd love to hear from y'all. And anybody trying out for drum corps, that getting into the audition is victory enough. That is a very stressful thing to deal with because you're just up against so many talented musicians that have been dreaming since the first time they picked up the instrument that they want to get into drum corps. So please let me know how that goes. Good luck to all of you and whatnot. So DCI Texas Tour, big difference. Let's just go through the list. And again, we're going to talk about why it's not in the Alamodome. Now, granted, I don't have any specific inside information, but as far as event planning goes and that whole business aspect of it, I can shed a little insight on that. So DCI Texas Tour, very different, but let's just start with it. July 16th, DCI Denton, back at Apogee Stadium on the campus of University of North Texas. I think it's an on-campus stadium, and it's right off the highway. But July 16th, Denton, Texas, Apogee Stadium, lovely stadium. You've got the Academy, Blue Knights, Boston Crusaders, the Cadets, Carolina Crown, Colts, Guardians, Mandarins, Phantom Regiment, and Santa Clara Vanguard. A pretty meaty lineup there. So be sure to enjoy it, all of you North Texas folks. July 16th, probably one of the biggest changes there, obviously, in the entire tour, not just Texas. DCI Austin, finally in DCI Austin. Finally in Austin, a stadium we are all very familiar with. In Round Rock, Texas, Kelly Reed's Athletic Complex. You Austin people have probably been there a million times. Well, you're about to go one more time. DCI Austin, presented by Flow Marching, Kelly Reed's Athletic Complex. And their Cavaliers, Crossman, Genesis, Jersey Surf, Madison Scouts, Music City, Pacific Crest, Seattle Cascades, Spirit, and the Troopers. Genesis gets a true home show, which is really neat. Good for them. Why is this now in DCI Austin? Why did it take so long to get there? Well, understand that I want to say there's a little bit of a bidding process, but yeah, there are some school districts, there are some schools that offer to host a DCI contest. And the reason they do that, number one, it's a really cool experience for parents and volunteers and kiddos alike. And number two, we talked about this at the beginning of the season, fundraising. Yes, it is a big it can be a very big fundraiser. I know that the Denton show, when it was at Denton ISD Stadium for all those years, was a big fundraiser for some programs there. So that's one of the main reasons why certain schools get to host certain shows. It was in this Austin contest was in Belton for a few years. It bounced around. It was at Barry Harlan Baylor, and then it was at Belton High School, their stadium there. It's just one of those things where, a program wants to offer it, they really want it, and if they have the facilities and the means to get that done, then, DCI sticks with them. As far as the local contests go, not local contests, but like the smaller contests go, there's 7-8 corps that are there. Existing relationships with DCI, that's obviously something that they take into account first, and they, it's something they like to work with those programs. So that's why it was in Belton those years. Now it's in DCI Austin. Now it's in Austin. So that's going to be a really neat experience for all you Austin people. Tickets, like I said, tickets are not on sale yet, but I would imagine that show is going to sell out very, 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 very fast. So so be on the lookout for that. July 17th, one show in state of Texas, DCI Katy, presented by the BAM Shop. This used to be called Tour of Champions for a number of years. That's no real mention of Tour of Champions with DCI anymore. But, I mean, not a big deal. It was just one of those, like, you would see small ensembles doing warm-ups in the near the ticketing area and whatnot, and it was a little bit, I wouldn't say more of a relaxed environment, because the amount of cores that were there and the caliber of cores were there that were pretty intense. But no mention of Tour Champions this year. It's just regular DCI Katy contest. Blue Devils, Blue Knights, Blue Stars, Blue Coats, Carolina Crown, the Cavaliers, and Phantom Regiment. This, of course, is being held at that massive Legacy Stadium in Katy, Texas. Again, a stadium that all the Houston people are very, very familiar with, especially if you're into the marching arts. Then July 18th, what was supposed to be at the Alamodome, due to a scheduling conflict, I'll talk about that in a second, is now split into two shows. So half of the cores are going to DCI San Antonio, presented by Fred J. Miller, technically in Converse, Texas, which is at technically, if you want to be technical with that, D.W. Rutledge Stadium, which is on the campus of Judson High School in San Antonio, or Converse, or whatever the hell you want to call it. Groups there, Blue Devils, Blue Coats, Boston Crusaders, the Cavaliers, the Cadets, Colts, Crossmen, Guardians, Jersey Surf, Music City, Pacific Crest, and Seattle Cascade. So that's like 12 or 13 groups that are going to be there. Obviously, a very, very shocking change, especially from a fan's perspective. You used to go into the Alamodome at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and then having your face blown off by Amazing Drum Corps for 10 hours. Not the case here. Outdoor stadium on the campus. Now, granted, it's a nice on-campus stadium. Seats about, I think, 12,000 people, but nothing beats the Alamodome. We all know that. Why did this happen? Oh, by the way, let's keep going with the July 18th stuff. So instead of just DCI San Antonio, you got that, and now you've got DCI Corpus Christi, which is at Cal Allen Stadium in the Corpus Christi area, and that is, who's presenting that? That's Fred J. Miller again, FJM doing their thing. The Academy, Blue Knights, Blue Stars, Carolina Crown, Genesis, Madison Scouts, Mandarins, Phantom Regiment, Santa Clara Vanguard, Spirit of Atlanta, and Troopers. So that's it. Splits the tour in half on that Saturday. This means several things. Number one, first of all, that Sunday there's going to be a lot less traffic on the Riverwalk. There's going to be some folks are going to probably be spending their free day on the Riverwalk in San Antonio. Some of them are probably going to be spending their free day on the beach in Corpus. So, you take your pick. Beach is definitely a nice place to be, especially during the hot summers in Texas. Why did this happen? Scheduling conflict at DCI San Antonio. This has only happened one other time. Now, the DCI contest in San Antonio has been a thing since like 1998 or 1999. So it's been going on strong for 20 years. This is only the second time that it hasn't been held in the Alamodome. In 2010, it was held at the same stadium, D.W. Rutledge Stadium. And the reason why was because the Dallas Cowboys decided randomly to hold their training camp in San Antonio in the Alamodome. They basically took over the entire facility for 3 weeks, which ran through the DCI season. And obviously they're not going to let anybody else in there, so that's why it was moved to D.W. Rutledge Stadium. That's part of the reason why it's there now. The bigger reason why it's at this particular stadium is because DCI already has a relationship with that particular venue and that particular high school. Last year, during DCI Southwestern Championships, there were like 3 or 4 drum corps that were held at Judson High School. Judson High School, for those of you who don't know, it's a freshman-sophomore campus. There's a junior-senior campus. It's a giant plot of land, and apparently there's room to hold a ton of people. So that's why it's there. It's a big difference from going down the Alamodome and standing in a long line at Bill Miller's Barbecue. Don't worry, D.W. Rutledge Stadium has a Bush's Chicken within walking distance. I know that's what you all were concerned about. One of the things you have to realize when it comes down to event planning and booking something, it doesn't matter whether you're booking a 10-person meeting at a Holiday Inn Express, or whether you're trying to book the Alamodome for a Saturday in July, nothing is certain until the contract is signed. Until pen gets put to paper, nothing's guaranteed, nothing is set in stone. So, if you're also you have to also keep in mind that DCI is a nonprofit organization. So they've got a very tight budget to work with. I would imagine that this stuff just kind of gets, like the Alamodome stuff, probably gets done year to year. I mean, think about it. In 20 years, they've only had to move twice. And one of those times was because the world's most profitable, or the world's most valuable sports organization decided to take over the stadium for a month. So as far as venues go, that's not too bad. I mean, name another drum corps show that has been in the same exact venue for nearly 20 years. There's not very many of them, to say the least. There's a bunch on the East Coast, but as far as the grand scheme of things goes, that Alamodome has held their own for a long time. So what I'm trying to get at is, when you're budgeting money to rent these venues like, the Lucas Oil Stadium, and you're trying to rent venues in Atlanta and St. Louis and whatnot, you can't just go up to them and go, "Hi, we're Drum Corps International. We're going to use this same time next year. Is that cool?" "Oh, yeah, cool. Come on, just let us know the day before." It doesn't work that way. You've got to put significant deposits down, especially when you're talking about renting a giant dome. As far as the business side of it goes, if you're running the Alamodome and you don't have an event plan that weekend, and somebody comes along and is willing to give money right then and there, either putting down a minimum deposit or paying for the entire thing right up there, which is not uncommon, you're going to take that contract. You're not going to say, "Oh, well, let me go talk to these other guys because, they have business with us and I want to make sure they can No, you sign the contract. That's what salespeople in event management, that's what they do. Get the contract, get the money. That's how that business works. So, another organization booked the Alamodome for whatever reason. I don't know who did it. It's irrelevant at this point. It's not like they're going to cancel and then all of a sudden the San Antonio can get DCI can be back in San Antonio. So that's basic. That's the basic reason why it's not at the Alamodome. I know a lot of people are disappointed, and I know it throws things off a little bit because it's the first time all the drum corps, for many, 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 many years, it's the first time that all the drum corps get together, all in one contest, all in one panel, full panel, double effect panel and all that fun stuff. And then they get to see how it looks in a world-class facility and continue their shows going forward. Now it kind of puts a little bit of a blip on the season. I think everybody's going to handle it just fine. But it is disappointing to say the least, but we move forward, no big deal. July 18th, DCI San Antonio, DCI Corpus Christi. You better believe those shows are probably going to sell out the first day that tickets go on sale. So just be on the lookout, and I hope to see at some of those contests. I'll probably end up going to the San Antonio contest because, of course. Then July 20th, DCI Mesquite, presented by the United States Marine Drum and Bugle Corps. I hope they are back. I hope they get to go to DCI Mesquite. That would be really neat. Didn't mean to rhyme there. Blue Devils, Blue Knights, Blue Stars, Blue Coats, Cavaliers, Colts, Jersey Surf, Music City, Seattle Cascades. That's at Mesquite Memorial Stadium in Mesquite, Texas. And I think that's like the third or fourth year that it's going to be held there. So, and then July 21st, DCI McKinney. This is the first time a drum corps contest is being held at this gorgeous, gorgeous McKinney ISD Stadium in McKinney, Texas. I used to live down the street from the stadium when it was first being built, and it was like, it's basically a cathedral. Gorgeous, gorgeous stadium. Like I said, first time a drum corps contest is being held there. It's going to be featuring the Academy, Boston Crusaders, Carolina Crown, Crossmen, Genesis, Mandarins, Pacific Crest, Phantom Regiment, and Santa Clara Vanguard. And that's your Texas tour. It looks a lot different, and it's going to feel a lot different too. But you know what? It's still drum corps. These are still world-class organizations. These are still wonderful, wonderful shows. So if you get a chance to go out to any of these venues, we can go to one or go to as many as you possibly can. I want to try to go to more than one. especially with the DCI San Antonio not being the Southwestern Championships. And by the way, DCI San Antonio is called that. There's no Southwestern Championships or anything like that. The first time all the world-class drum corps are going to get together is going to be at the Southeastern Championships, which is in that giant dome in Atlanta the following weekend. Like I said, very different, but you know what? You're still going to go to those drum corps shows. So if you get to go there, drop me a line, and maybe we can come say hi or something like that. Definitely different, but it's still awesome. I am done here. If you got any questions, comments, send them my way on Instagram at DanPodValdez. Follow the TexasFans.com Facebook page, and I'll figure out something to talk about next week, probably more story time or whatnot. But there's never a shortage to run out. There's never a shortage of fun stuff to talk about. I'm done here. I will talk to you all next week. Take care. Adios. Bye-bye.